today's video, we are going to be doing a cleaning and checking for normal wear and tear on the Beretta APX A1 Tactical. Now this gun has got about 800 to 900 rounds fired through it now, and we're getting ready to do the 1,000 round review, so I want to get it all cleaned up before we take it out to do the review. So we're going to get right into it. First thing we need to do is, this gun is clear, nothing in the chamber, no mag, and we've got to remove the comp. We're going to loosen this up, and this will just thread right off of here. Alright, we're going to set that over to the side. Now to break this down, we just have to pull it back a little bit. That pin out, and there goes that. And we've got our captured guide rod and spring in here, and we're going to remove the barrel. Now the next part I want to do with this, I am going to remove the striker and everything out of here because I want to clean the channel. Now, depending on your skill level with guns, you may or may not want to go this far with it. You can decide this after you watch what I'm going to do here. But first thing we got to do is remove the back plate. And it's not as easy as say it is with like a Glock. So you've got 2 points here. So the first thing you got to do is take this 1/16 punch, and we're going to depress this in. We want to kind of go in a little bit on an angle. Alright, and then that plate is going to drop to that position. Now, we're going to go in through here and depress that and push it out. Now I'm going to show you what we just did there. So we've got this spring here. Okay. Now, in order to remove this, once you get back to about here, it stops. And you're going to depress this. That's going to come out the rest of the way. Okay, now, so we've got to this part. This is where it starts to get a little more difficult. There's a lot of parts here that we're going to mess with. So what we want to do is kind of depress this a little bit, and we're going to flip it upside down. Now this spring here just came out, okay? And that spring goes right here like this. So keep that in mind. Another thing I suggest, you get you a magnetic bowl, start putting your parts in there. Now we are going to start working on this. Now the easiest way I found to do this, take your slide, just kind of give it a tap, and you'll see this is starting to work its way out. Now you're going to keep your hand, or your thumb, keep it over this, and we're going to remove that part. Now we still have some more parts in here. We're going to do that again. Now we got a spring, okay? And this is now going to come out. So this part here, that's what you're looking at. I'll put this in the bowl. And there is a spring under there, and it is very small, and that's what it looks like. So like I said, this is up to you, and we still got one part to get out of here yet. Alright, I was going to wait and take the extractor out, but the extractor fell out. Well, you don't have any pressure on this now, so you can just take out, flip it over. There's your extractor. But we still got a part in here, and it's starting to come out. There it is. Okay, so that is what is pushing on the back of that extractor. Just like that. Okay. So, you look in this bowl now, you got a lot of parts inside that slide. So if you don't feel comfortable taking it down to the bare slide like this, You don't have to, but I did. Alright, now what we want to do, we're going to start cleaning stuff. So we're going to be using this Breakthrough Clean all-in-one CLP. And what I want to do is just take a little bit of this, spray it here on the inside. And while we've got this out, I want to get a coat of CLP on this barrel, and I want to get some down inside. And we're just going to kind of work that around, and we're just going to let this barrel sit for a little bit while we start working on the slide. So we're going to get in here with a brush, and we're just going to start cleaning away here real good. Alright, now we're going to take a microfiber towel and we're going to start wiping everything down. Get what we can with this towel. Now we're going to take some Q-tips, because I can't get in here with my microfiber towel, and we want to get in here, clean out really well here. That's looking good. And then up here in the front of the slide, kind of want to do the same thing. Grab another one here. We're going to get in there and clean all this out real good. I want to work down through here with this Q-tip where your rails are going to be touching the slide. Do the same thing on this side. And there is that. Nice and clean. Alright, now I want to clean out that striker channel and everything. So we're going to be using the military grade solvent from Breakthrough. I'm going to take some of this, spray it on a Q-tip. And what I want to do is get back in here into this channel and clean it out real good. Now the reason I'm using that solvent, it's not as oily as the CLP. It dries fast. And see, it's dirty in there. But it's not too bad for the round count that's on this. Alright, I can live with that. Then I'm also going to get down in here with that solvent. Alright. And get this wiped out real good back here in the back, where the back plate was. Alright. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, I want to get this excess solvent out of here, so I'm going to be using my air compressor. If you don't have an air compressor, you can just kind of keep using the Q-tips, run them dry, and get that out. This just speeds up the process. I know a lot of people don't have an air compressor in their reload or gun room, but I do. I'm going to do this off camera, because I don't want this solvent going up and spraying the lens on my camera. Alright, this is what we're going to do next. We're going to take some of that military grade solvent, okay? And what I want to do is just wipe these parts down with a little bit of solvent. I'm going to speed up the camera here while I do this. Next thing we're going to do, we're just going to take a dry patch here and we're just going to go over all of those again. And you can see it's staying pretty white. Everything's good and clean. Alright, so our slide looks really good. As far as wear goes, it's all normal wear and tear. Got a little bit here where the slide is going on the rails. Got a little bit of wear here and a little bit of wear right there, and that is all normal. Nothing to be alarmed about. Everything looks good. Let's start reassembling here. So we're going to take our extractor, set it in there just like that. Now you've got that little spring I showed you, and this is the easiest way I have found to do it. I'll just slide it on a punch, and we're going to just drop it right down in there just like that. Okay, and now this extractor sometimes will fall out on you. Just keep an eye on that it hasn't fallen out. Now we're going to put this in, okay, and we want this to go in that orientation right there. And it can be a little bit of a pain. Once you get it in there, it will depress freely on that spring. Okay, and now we got to start working our parts in. So the extractor, you don't want that to fall out. So keep your finger back there on that, and we're going to start dropping parts in. This is going first. Okay, you're going to put the spring in behind that, and then you're going to have this part. You want this side facing the back of the slide, and there you go. Now you should not have to worry about anything falling out at this point. Now the next thing we want to do, just leave that standing straight up. You're going to take this, put your spring back on. Doesn't really matter which way you put it. We're going to start sliding that in. And while you're doing that, you're going to have to push down on that again. Alright, and there you go. Make sure your extractor is still in place where it needs to be. Okay, and the last thing, you're going to put this in right behind it. Now this is where it starts to get a little tricky. So if you see this, it has to be pointing just like that. You're going to take your back plate and you're going to start working this on. So what I do is take the punch, push that down, and get that started. That's going to hold that. Okay, now we've got to this point, and you can see the green right here on the back of that spring. And what we want to do is we want to push that down and get that up right in the center of that back plate. Now we want to depress this. And while you're depressing that, keep pushing back on that, and that plate will pop into place. So yeah, it's a little more difficult than, say, a Glock, but there it is. So our slide's all back together, and everything is good on that. We're going to set our slide off to the side. Now we're going to address our barrel. Okay, now what we want to do, take some of our CLP. We're going to spray this battle rope down from Breakthrough right in front of those bristles. And I like to run this through 3 times. And there's that. And we're going to take our brush and we're just going to clean this real good right here. Get up here real good. Get right here on that feed ramp. Okay, and then we're going to take our cloth and we are going to wipe everything down. And we'll look at some of the wear here on the barrel. So we're getting some wear here, all the way around in this area. Just a little bit here. But this is all normal wear and tear. And our barrel looks great. And that's all we need to do to the barrel for now. Now our guide rod and spring looks pretty good. So I'm not going to do anything to this. This is an aftermarket stainless steel, and I have a video on that also if you want to look at some of the other parts I've put in this, but we're just going to clean that up real good with towel. I'm not going to use any solvents or anything because it still looks brand new. Now the last thing I want to do, because I do run a comp on this, we did this in the last cleaning video. I like to take the Breakthrough Clean suppressor cleaner, and I just want to soak this down real good. Now we're going to just let this sit, let this work its magic on this comp, and I'll come back and I'll tell you what we're going to do with this before we put it back on. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is address the frame. Now the APX A1 tactical frame does have a fire control unit in it, so it's kind of similar to, say, a SIG, and it is a serialized part, so the whole unit does come out. So the first thing we want to do here, we're going to take our takedown lever out and put that in our little magnetic bolt. Okay, once we have the takedown pin out, we got a pin back here we need to punch out. So we're going to just take our hammer, punch that out. And what you need to do is take this and set that in your magnetic parts bowl. Now it's not ready to lift out quite yet. Let me show you what you got to do. This is spring loaded. Okay, you're just going to depress that and you're going to work your control unit out. And that's what it's going to look like. So that's your fire control unit. And I wouldn't mess with it too much further than that. You can see where that spring load is right there. Now that we got that unit out, we want to clean our frame. Now I do this a little differently than most people. But what I like to use, I use Rim Action Cleaner. Some people love this stuff, some people hate it. It is kind of expensive. This stuff runs you about $7 or $8 a can, and it doesn't last long. Now what I'm going to do is take this fire control unit and I'm going to blast this out real good with this action cleaner. But you don't want to do it underneath the camera. So I'm going to have to do that part off camera because this stuff here will tear up your camera lenses. And what I'm going to do with the frame, same thing. I'm going to spray this inside with some action cleaner. I'm going to take my mag cleaning brush and I'm going to clean this all out real good while the action cleaner is still wet. Now this stuff dries really fast, but I am going to blow everything out with the air compressor when I'm done. It'll just speed the process up. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to spray down inside the frame. I'm going to brush this out. Then I'm going to take the air compressor and blow it out and dry it. This, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to hold it, spray it down real good with action cleaner. And then we'll come back and I'll show you what everything looks like after I'm done doing that. Okay, there's our frame. Looks like brand new. Everything cleaned, brushed out, everything real well. And this is what our fire control unit looks like. It looks really good. Now, one thing about that Rim Action Cleaner, it kind of strips everything off, even the good stuff. So we're going to take some of this Battle-Born high purity oil, and I just want to put some oil on this patch, let it soak in. And what we're going to do is just kind of put a light coat of this on this fire control unit, and then wipe everything down really good. I'll speed up the camera while I'm doing this. Okay, and then once you do that, just take a dry patch, wipe off all that excess, because we just want a very thin coat on here. And you can use your own discretion on this, if this is how you want to do it or not. I'm just showing you what I do. Okay, the next thing we got to do is put the fire control unit back in the frame. If you see this spring right here, okay, this spring needs to be in this orientation when you push it back. You do not want it forward. It needs that spring tension right there. So basically you just take this, you're going to drop it down in the frame. You see this right here, okay? There's a groove for that to sit in down in there. And you just drop it in, okay? And then remember this pin we were talking about that's spring loaded back here. What we want to do with that is depress that down. Okay, once you get that depressed back behind that frame, you just kind of start walking it down in there. That'll pop back in there, just like so. Okay, so we're down to putting the back pin in. Now if you look at this, this pin can only go one way. See how it's real narrow right here? This is what goes inside of the plastic frame on this side. So it has to go in from this direction. Okay? And we also have to take that spring I was talking about. Now you see that spring back there. We have to take our punch and we got to pull up on that spring and get that slid across. Okay, now you look, it's bottomed out right there. Push this down and work that the rest of the way in. And then that indent is going to go right into there and it'll actually push in right by hand. You don't even have to hammer it in. So we've got that far. Now you can take your takedown lever, put it back in. You will have to push down on your fire control unit a little bit. Okay, once you got it in, just push it back, make sure it's working. Okay, and that's it. The frame is back together. Now we're going to go back to the slide. And what we want to do with this barrel is I am going to take my Battle-Born oil, put a little squirt of oil on this, okay? And then we're going to take a clean patch. I just want to put a very thin coat of oil on this, on my threads. Get back here. We just want a thin coat of oil all over the barrel. Hit your feed ramp. Okay, now we're going to take our barrel, drop it back in our slide, take our guide rod and spring, and we're going to put that on just like that. Now we're going to take our frame, take my needle oiler here. This is the Breakthrough HP Pro Battle-Born, and I just want to get a little bit of oil on our rails. We're going to do this on both sides. You don't have to run it all the way down, just a little bit. And we are going to reinstall our slide, kick our takedown lever down, and we're good to go. Now this gun is obviously clear, no mag. We want to check function. Nice reset. Nice break. Everything's working good. Now we're going to go back to the comp. So what I like to do with these, we're going to just take all that extra suppressor cleaner solvent and wipe it off the comp. but we're going to leave it on the inside. And the reason I'm going to do that is because the next time I take it to the range to shoot it, it will blast most of that out of there. That's how I clean my comps. Now, what we got to do next, if you turn this all the way tight, it's off, okay? They see that 40 on there? What that stands for is 40 inch-pounds. That's what they want that tightened down to. So what we want to do is get this comp. I like to look at it from this point. You got that notch right there. I like to get that right centered with my front sight. We're going to take our wheeler gauge. I do have it set at 40 inch-pounds. We're going to start getting that a little bit snug. We're going to eyeball it and make sure it's right where I want it. And we're going to start tightening it down. And there's 40 inch-pounds. Now our comp is back on it. Now I'm just going to take my cloth and we're going to wipe down all the excess CLP, oil, everything that's on this. I don't like to run these real wet because I run optics, and the wetter you run these barrels and everything, the more splashback you're going to get on the front of your optic, and then it's going to be hard to see out of it. So just want to get everything wiped down real good. And the last thing we got to do is clean our optic. Now when it comes to cleaning my glass on my optics, I got this pre-moistened lens wipe. These just came from Amazon. I bought a box of like a couple hundred of them. They're not that expensive. So what I like to do is just take my cloth. We'll start cleaning our lens real good. This Swamp Fox Justice that's on here now is very easy to clean. And we're going to get this lens good and wet with these cloths. And then what you want to do is take a dry lens cleaning cloth. Keep this away from all your other rags on your gun bench. You don't want to get oil on it because you don't want to be smearing a bunch of oil on your clean lens. And then I just like to buff these out. And there we go. We got a nice clean optic. That's all there is to it. Gun is clean. Function checked. It's fine. And we are ready to get this thing out to the range to do our 1,000 round review. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.